Hi, this is Brother Barnes, and in part one of creating modules, I showed you how to get your weeks set up. We are going to flesh those out, but I think we probably should say first things first, and let's make a startup module. Your school will most likely have a lot of information that is important for students to know before doing anything. So let's create a startup module. We'll call it that. We'll call it that first. Let's add that. And why don't, just to be safe, let's drag this and move it to the top. And some of the things I'm going to tell you, maybe in the long run you won't want to retain. You'll want to switch the order and so forth. But just for now, let's be really safe and start with first things first. And within this startup module, let's click on the plus sign. And by the way, here are some of the homework assignments that I've done in a prior video, and we'll deploy those as time goes by. But I want to deploy pages. And notice that there is an accessibility of course materials and accommodations, Canvas how-tos, frequently asked questions, getting started with Canvas. I think that's something I created. How to register for my lab and mastering. I likely did that one. Make sure you get your highlighted notes. I know I did that one. Northwest policies. There we go. Notice of non-discrimination. Proctor exam and respondus lockdown browser information. Protocols and procedures for returning to campus. Technology privacy information. Well, protocols and procedures for returning to campus is top priority because we're still in the COVID. So let's add that. And let's just take a look at this for just a moment. Let's click on it. And here it talks about all of the safe routes one would observe to return to campus. Let's go back to modules now. So what I would like to say is that I had done a course copy earlier, and I had copied specific content, specifically the pages, because I wanted to redo this module from the ground up. And so that's how I got these in the beginning. This is from a very recent module. A very recent shell that I just completed. So let's pick a few other things. Let's put notice of non-discrimination next and make sure that that's good to go. Okay, we're good there. And then let's add some more pages. Let's add Northwest policies. Yes. These are all of the important items that must not be neglected. Let's add page Northwest services. Let's add that. So instead of making you go through all of this with me, I want you to determine what is needed in your course module, course shells, to make sure that the students are informed properly and get that done. I will work on this a little bit more, and I may show you what I did later. I began a moment ago showing you how to add some policy items into a startup portion of the modules. Remember, I'm going to help fill out these weekly assignments, and I'm going to show you that as I go along building this shell from the ground up, basically. Most of this is generic school stuff until we get down to about your instructor. This is a video that I use to explain some of my YouTube resources. And then getting started with Canvas. These are custom videos that I've made to help my students in the class. What is Canvas? How do I get notifications from my teacher? How do I check due dates? How do I message my teacher? How do I activate my lab and mastering and the e-text via Red Shelf. The last item here is not something that's personal about me or something that I did, but the Respondus Lockdown Browser is important information because during this COVID time we have been taking online tests with webcam monitoring. So this is really important, and I'll be deploying a quiz rather quickly to my students to get them used to this whole process. Let's go back to modules, and I want to show you a couple more things. As I was looking at these modules, I looked at frequently asked questions, and I realized these are frequently asked questions about COVID. So let's go back to edit this, and these are frequently asked questions about COVID. Let's just save that. We might want to change that again later, but it's really not frequently asked questions about getting started. It's about COVID. And one of the other things I'm going to do is I want to show you how to connect the home page, the startup button, with this startup module right here so that the student can progress downward through time and complete the class, the online component of the class.